think a lot of people have a fantasy fairy tale around what a great relationship is supposed to be like and how great sex happens long term and how it should just be chemistry and natural and amazing without any effort, because if that was the right person, then it would just be fireworks and so easy and so perfect. And that just is not true. No. It's not real. Mm-hmm. And thinking that it is supposed to be like that will just lead you to questioning your relationship constantly. You choose the relationship you want to be in, and then through your action, the action is love. It's not that excitement feeling you get at the beginning of the relationship, and then that excitement feeling goes away. That's limerence. That's new relationship energy. That is not love. That's the bonding chemicals that are trying to, like the nature that's trying to get you to have sex and reproduce. That is not love. It's not falling in love either. Love happens when those chemicals wear off and you choose intentionally to forego some of the things that would be more convenient for you in favor of the relationship.
Welcome to Vaginas, Vulvas, and Vibrators with Jordan Donnell. This is a safe place to learn about women's health and sexual wellness. I'm your host, Jordan Donnell, physician assistant, women's sexual health educator, and intimacy coach. This podcast is intended for educational purposes only. It is not intended as medical advice. Please seek your medical professional's direction and guidance. The views and opinions on this podcast reflect my own and my guests and are no representation of any institution or organization that I work for. Welcome back to the Vaginas, Vulvas, and Vibrators podcast. Today we have Hannah, the Libido Fairy, with me, and I'm so excited to talk to my friend all about pleasure. So, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Sure. I don't even know where to begin on this. Yeah. So my name's Hannah. I'm also known as the Libido Fairy, and I run a company that helps women have better sex in their long-term relationships.
Which is so necessary and important. And I think we talked on Friday for something that you are working on, but one of the biggest questions so many people have is, what do I want? And you get asked that question and often freeze. And so I am really curious to literally just dive into that today with you and talk about, like, how do you know what you want in the bedroom?
I actually think it's so much easier to figure out than people make it into. Something that I like to think about is we know what we like to eat, right? Like that is like, if you would think about it, you'd be able to like list off like a bunch of foods that you like. How did you figure out what you wanted to eat? Like, how did you figure out what you like?
Tried them all.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I think that if people had that same approach to the bedroom, they would know what they like. But because the problem is that there's not a lot of places that people can go for inspiration other than porn. A lot of what we see on porn is unrealistic sex that's not lifelike, and it's not true to how the actual experience would be. So a lot of times if people try things that they see in porn, they're disappointed afterwards because they're like, oh, it didn't look like that, it didn't feel like that, so maybe I should just stop trying. So like that's really the only inspo that we have. And also sex is just like a thing that comes with baggage and shame, and people feel uncomfortable trying new things when it is already hard enough or vulnerable enough to be there.
Yeah. One of the things that I hear about when we talk about sex is play, and just like using it literally as an adult playtime. Like we used to have playtime as a kid, but we lost that somewhere as we got older. And that's truly what sex is. It's a space to be creative. It's a space to play. It's a space to have fun. And we need to get back to that.
For sure. I like to think about there's kind of two different types of sex that people can have in their relationships. They can have maintenance sex, which is fine. It's important. Keeping the lights on, keeping the car running, the vehicle running maintenance is important. And then the other kind of sex is sexploration. And I actually recommend that couples differentiate between those two things because, like you were saying, in a time that's set aside for sexploration, there shouldn't be any pressure for it to lead to orgasm or for it to have a certain outcome. And in fact, like there should be space in that time to fail on purpose. Like let's try things that maybe don't work for us or will not be something that we want to add into maintenance sex. And the goal is just very different. The goal is not to maintain our sexual connection. It is to find new things that we like, to be vulnerable, to try things, and just to see what happens. And there's so much connection that can come from just being in that place of, the vulnerability, the novelty, the expansion, the playfulness, the curiosity, what does that button do? I don't know. What's going to happen?
Well, and I think that we oftentimes, we focus on the outcome of it. And how often in our life do we do something once and it turns out? Like 99% of the time, you have to fail in order to succeed. And if you don't fail, you're not going to succeed. And then, like, literally, sex is the same.
And what I like to think about, especially with sexploration or trying new things and figuring out what it is that you like, I like to say, I'll try anything twice, because exactly what you just said. The first time that you try anything, you're literally just getting your bearings. You're like, I don't even know where this thing goes or what it's supposed to do. And there's like often a lot of nervousness or anticipation or expectations that can come in with the first time trying something and just figuring it out and giving yourself space to say, okay, the first time I was kind of just like interacting with this for the first time, and that it just doesn't count. It's like when you make your first pancake, the floppy pancake is the first pancake that you pour in. It's never going to come out right, but what you're doing is just calibrating. You're saying, okay, how hot is the pan? How thick is the batter? How long should I let the pancake sit there? And then you throw away the first pancake, and then the second pancake is good because you figured out on the first time what you liked and what you didn't like about that pancake, and you're just like, okay, next one's better.
Yeah, it's so true. And I do that even like my dad. I make him chocolate chip cookies, and we always make one. Always have my entire life. You put one in, it's like, oh, does it need a little bit more baking soda or powder or whatever the fuck you put in there? I don't even know. I follow a recipe because that's all I'm really good at is recipes, not great at putting it together on my own. But yeah, the first one generally doesn't turn out. You need to modify for it to go better in the future.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. So when they're asking the question, what do you want? There's like two things that I really typically recommend. There's first, if you've ever tried anything sexually, make a list of all the things that you have tried that have gone well. And then the second thing is tuning in, as long as you know what your yes and what your no feel like in your body, that's all you need to go off of. And then try things and see what makes my body feel like a yes and what makes my body feel like a no. And that's it. Like, it's just the same as putting food in your mouth, and does it taste good or does it taste bad? And then if it tastes bad, maybe give it one more bite, one more try. And then if you really don't like it, throw it out. You're done. Don't need to try again.
Yeah. You had mentioned like what it feels in your body. So how does somebody know what it feels in their body? Because I feel like that often is also a question where it's like, well, fuck, I don't know.
Well, let's give examples. When you're a yes and something feels good for you, what are the sensations associated with that?
Oof. And I know you asked me this the other day, and I'm like, oof, this is hard. But like, juicy was one thing that I had said. You just feel like juicy. You feel full, complete. Excitement.
What does excitement feel like in your body? What are the tangible sensations?
And this is where I have a hard time. Yeah, like tangible sensations. Maybe like, I know what anxiety feels like in my body.
So you're pointing to your belly right now.
I know.
Yeah.
Like,
so you know that there's a sensation here, right? Like you're naturally here, like, okay, there's like something going on here in the middle of my body. That's what excitement feels like. You're like, there's something that's there. Okay, great. Does that thing that's in your belly feel like tingling? Does it feel like there's a pit or not? Does it feel like something's like ripping you apart? Does it feel like squiggly? Does it feel squirmy? Does it feel like butterflies? Does it feel like there's something clanking around in there? Like, what is, when you tune into the feeling of excitement, like what is happening in there?
Squirmy as fuck. Yeah. And I love that you just listed all of those words, because I feel like half of the challenge with some of this stuff is the vocabulary, the language.
Yeah.
And, you know, oftentimes when I ask patients, like, oh, describe your pain, they're like, pain, I don't know. But it's like, is it achy? Is it dull? Is it sharp? And a lot of times we just don't have the right language to express some of these things too, which makes it challenging.
Definitely. So I would say if you struggle to describe what sensations feel like in your body, you can ask ChatGPT or Google, give me a list of sensation words, and open that list up and see what resonates with you from that. When you tune into your body, okay, what does that actually feel like? Does it feel like butterflies in my stomach? Does it feel like a sense of relaxation flooding my body? Does it feel like my shoulders drop down and can relax? Does it feel like there's an opening in my chest? Does it feel like there's warmth moving through my body? Does it feel like there's pulsing in my vulva or my clitoris? Does it feel like there's sweat on my palms or flush in my cheeks? Do I feel hot on my face? Right? Like those are all examples of ways that your body could respond with arousal or excitement when something is a yes for you.
A tingling in my pussy would be a great yes.
Yes. Butterflies and fanny flutters.
Fanny flutters. Okay. So funny story. You know how in the US we call a fanny is like the backside? In like Europe, the fanny is the front side. Did you know that?
I did, but only from watching what's the show? The Love Island UK. Because they call when you get butterflies in your pussy fanny flutters.
Oh my goodness, that's hilarious. I learned about it because of fanny packs. It was on Instagram like in the last week, and they're like, why do you think we call it a fanny pack? And I'm like, oh, I don't know.
It's on the front.
Huh.
Good to know.
Crazy. I like mine on the side,
Fun fact.
Because I just like to be difficult always.
That's fun.
When we were chatting the other day, you also talked about a menu.
Yes.
And I feel like a menu is such a helpful way to figure out where to start. The analogy that you used, if I'll share it for you, if you don't mind, is you go, say, to Japan and you get an untranslated menu and you're like, well, shit, what am I going to eat? So you just like pick something and you try it and then you decide. And I feel like oftentimes a menu to pick from is also helpful when you don't even know what you don't know and where to begin.
For sure. For sure. That's why I made one.
Yes.
Yeah. So I have a checklist called the Likes and Limits checklist. It has over 500 different menu items that you could choose from, ranging from stuff like a kiss on the neck to energetic penetration through your third eye to threesomes, like just so many things on there are that you could potentially explore and try. And so I'll send you the link to that resource if you want to share it. It's totally free. And one of my followers actually made it into an editable template, so you can go through this like Google sheet. I also have one that's just like a list, but there's an editable Google sheet where you can go in and you can mark which ones you're interested in, and then and your partner can do that too. And then on the third page, it will show you where you overlap.
Oh my goodness, somebody is really good at Google Sheets.
Yes,
I love that. That's so helpful though, because part of this is knowing like what you want, but also what does your partner want? And not everything is going to line up 100%. And what may be an absolute no for you may be something that they really want. How do you navigate that?
If it's an absolute no for you, don't do it, is like the first step of that. Like, I really am like, just don't override your body. Don't do things that you're going to regret later or are going to make you resent your partner because you crossed your own boundary. Like, that's just, especially when it comes to sex and especially when it comes to things that are so personal with your physical body. In general, just don't do things for your partner that make you build resentment. But that is where resentment comes from. It comes from crossing your own boundaries for someone else. And that's not their fault that you couldn't say no or couldn't set an appropriate consequence or couldn't set an appropriate boundary. That's on you. So first and foremost, sexually, if it's a hard no for you and you do not feel good about it, don't do it. Then the question becomes, okay, if that's a no, then if we took that down 3 notches from intensity level. So say the thing that your partner, I actually did this poll recently on my Instagram. I asked, what's something that you really want to try? And a lot of the most common answer that I was so surprised by was pegging. I got a lot of pegging.
Everybody's into pegging right now.
Everybody wants to do pegging.
Yes, I have seen that. Okay.
It was a lot of pegging as a response, which is really cool. I love that. What pegging is someone who doesn't have a penis wearing a strap-on and performing sex or penetrative sex on someone who has an anus. So typically it is a woman penetrating a man, but you can put a strap on whoever. And as long as you have a butthole, that's a thing.
Yes.
So if that is the thing that you're requesting and your partner is like a hard no and that's like a 10 out of 10 of intensity, then maybe dial pegging back a few notches, and it could just look like playing with like just anal play or using a butt plug or just using your fingers to give your partner pleasure anally. Like, all of those things kind of fall within the same realm as pegging, but maybe aren't a 10 out of 10. So like, if you want something that your partner doesn't want, like, how do you dial that back to get a similar feeling without the same level of intensity of what that is? Like, something in the same realm, but maybe not quite the same intensity. So that would be like my next like suggestion after that point. And then I really like setting up. So I'll preface this by saying, I think a lot of times in sex, what will happen is both partners are trying to give and receive at the same time. It's like there's like this weird kind of reciprocity thing that happens where, like, I want my partner to be having a good experience, but I'm also trying to have a good experience at the same time. But then because that's happening, neither of us, on both sides, neither of us are really fully getting to receive or have the pleasure of giving. And so I know for myself, I'll speak for myself specifically, like, it's very hard for me to fully let go and receive if I am also simultaneously giving to my partner, or if that reciprocity is really there at all. Like, 69 is the worst position for me.
Agreed. 100%.
Like, I'm not doing a good job for you, and I'm not really liking what you're doing or able to focus on it right now. So this is just like, it's fine.
No. I've done literally a whole episode about how 69 is trash. It was episode 69.
That's so funny. But it's because of that. And so I'm a huge fan of having separate time where the whole focus is just on one partner's pleasure. So my partner and I set up, my husband and I set up king and queen nights for each other, where the entire experience, like 3 hours worth, it's not all sex, but that entire time is just about meeting that person's desires and giving to that person. And so if you and your partner have different desires that don't kind of seem to mesh, instead of trying to fit them into one session together where you're gonna like be doing something that you're like, this is not great for me, but I'm doing it for them, and then you have to turn around and be like, okay, now it's my turn to do the thing. Just separate out those two things completely and have completely different experiences where you just get to do all the things that you want to do, and then they get to do all the things that they want to do. And I feel like it just creates one more opportunity for the person that's receiving to really get to enjoy it, because there's no like, oh, I'm going to have to turn around and reciprocate this later. And the person that's giving can really be in the mindset of, how do I make my partner feel so special and so good? And just like that gets to be my whole intention and focus, and like just flowing energy into them and feeling the pleasure of getting to give and provide that for another person. It's really, really nice.
Well, and even the pleasure of receiving, like,
yeah,
being able to just receive all of that is so helpful. And I think for a lot of people who maybe are type A, it's kind of who I think of initially, but it's like we are constantly like, go, go, go. We're not getting much back, but we're giving, giving, giving. And so sometimes when you just stop and you're able to receive all the compliments, you're able to receive all of it, it really pours into you.
For sure. Yeah.
Like outside of sex too.
Yes. And the king and queen nights as well. Like if you are wanting to set that up, it doesn't have to be something that is just a sexual experience. Like there are times when it's queen night, but maybe I'm really exhausted from the week of work, and I just, like one of the ones we just had, I was like, I want you to set up a picnic in our living room and order my favorite Thai food, and we're going to have a little picnic on the floor, and then I want you to make me a bath that has flowers in it and a bath bomb and cozy lights, and we're going to take a bath together, and then I want you to read to me and brush my hair and hold me.
Oh my God.
And that was my queen night.
I love that. Brush my hair. Yes, I want my hair to be washed. That's literally like, I've been getting all these blowouts for the recordings and I'm obsessed. Like, where have I been my whole life? But I've told somebody for a long time, I want a partner that washes my hair. Because this shit's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. You got thick hair.
I relate.
You know. You got a lot of
I
it
relate.
too. Yeah.
I relate. It's a big job.
When I was home for Christmas with my mom, she washed my hair for me.
Oh, that's so sweet.
It was so sweet.
It's so intimate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so amazing. And you guys do like a lot of massages for your nights too, don't you?
Yeah.
I've seen, a lot of your posts about like your king and queen nights. And
Yeah.
how often are you doing them?
Once a month, and we trade off each month. So like this month I did one for him. Next month I get one.
Oh, I love that. What are like some of the things that you do for him?
It really depends. Again, like it depends on his energy, what he asked for. Like there was one a couple months ago where he wanted me to do like a sexy striptease for him. So like that is an example of something I would do for him. He also loves when I like wash off his whole body. So like we did a multi-part experience where I like washed him off and then gave him a massage and then did like a sexy striptease for him and then gave him a blowjob and then made him dinner and then drew a bath for him and then we cuddled after that.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. And you have a resource for people on how to do the king and queen nights too, right?
Yeah. So I have it's embedded within a larger resource. So I have this relationship ritual guide that's like 17 relationship rituals that you can do in your relationship. It includes like a daily check-in, weekly relationship check-ins, monthly relationship planning, an annual planning guide. It includes the king and queen night. So it's all these different like types of containers that you can build in your relationship, or rituals, consistent habits that you can build in your relationship to have just better connection, better relationship. I really I'm so grateful that I have the husband that I do, because he has brought in a lot of systems to our relationship that I'm like, wow, this is how you sustain love long term, is by putting these boring systems in place, but they're just the things that I look forward to in our relationship. I love our date nights. I love our king and queen nights. I love our monthly check-ins and our couples goal setting that we do every year. It's like the way we stay aligned.
Well, and if you're not pouring into the relationship, it's going to grow apart.
For sure.
And so it's an active choice, I think, for relationships to be doing activities that pour into them.
100%.
So what are some other things that you would do with your clients who are trying to explore, like, maybe where they want to go in their relationship? Like, they're struggling in their relationship, they're not sexually satisfied. Where should they go?
I think if a couple is struggling with their sex life, we were just talking about rituals. I do think that a lot of what happens is lacking the systems to sustain a great sex life. Systems and skills. I think those are the two things that are missing. And the skills that are often missing are communication, first and foremost, and emotional, how do I want to say this? Not necessarily emotional resilience, but just emotional awareness. Just being able to, in a relationship, one, with communication, being able to say, this is how I'm feeling, this is what I need, this is what I'm struggling with, this is how you can help me, this is what I want for my life, and here's how we can do this together. Like having that communication consistently. And then the skill of emotional resilience or emotional capacity or awareness or emotional intelligence, however you want to say it, being able to, in a relationship, feel what I'm feeling as the relationship progresses and the day-to-day life happens and fluctuates. Like, do I know how to feel what I'm feeling? Do I know how to regulate if those emotions get big? And am I able to witness my partner in their emotional volatility or changes and just be there with them instead of trying to fix or change or solve or disconnect when my partner is experiencing emotions? If those skills are in place, then the relationship thrives. So that's like what's required first if a couple is like struggling intimately. Like, the sex isn't going to be good if you don't know how to communicate, if you don't know how to feel what's in your body, if you don't know how to be there with your partner present in vulnerable situations. So like foundationally, that needs to be there first.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like so often that's not something that we are taught.
No.
That's something we have to maybe trial and error, fail a few times before
Go to
we
therapy.
go to therapy. I know earlier you were talking about boundaries and not honoring our own boundaries. And I was like, damn, is this therapy for me again?
Maybe.
Yeah. But where do we like learn some of these skills, and how do we rewrite the stories that we've been told about how to connect with our partners?
I mean, the skills are pretty basic. Like, what I would recommend if I just listed all these things and you don't know how to do any of these things, the first place that I would start is start a daily journaling practice. And you're just going to ask yourself 3 questions every day. What am I noticing in my body? And again, if you don't know the sensation words, ChatGPT, ask for a list of sensation words and emotion words and look at that list and close your eyes, notice what's happening in your body, and ask yourself, what do I notice happening in my body? Look at the list, feel your body, write down a few words to describe what's happening in your body. What am I feeling? And then the question after that, what do I need? That's it. If you start doing that every single day, what am I feeling? What do I need? And consistently asking yourself those 2 things, you are going to build the skills that I just talked about.
Holy shit. You make it sound so easy, and it is.
It's hard. It's not. It's simple.
Yes.
It's not easy.
Yes.
Because it requires you to actually do the work. And most people would rather not acknowledge how they're feeling, just continue on with their life because emotions are inconvenient, and You might find some things that you don't like about yourself
That you
or
now
your
have to
life.
work through. Yeah. You know, I don't know if you know this, but I have a journal on Amazon. Did you know that? It's a gratitude journal.
Oh, nice.
So it's been out there. Me and my friend Danielle did it years ago, but it's interesting that you say all of that because literally that's exactly what the journal says is like checking in, like, how are you feeling? And it doesn't say like, what do you need? But it asks kind of similar question to get a similar answer. And it's just crazy to think that like I have these tools in my toolbox and they're literally at home on my bookshelf
For sure.
and they should be picked up and used.
It's easier to avoid.
1000%.
Yeah.
So much easier to avoid the uncomfortable than it is to dive in.
Which, circling back to the original question, if you're struggling with sex in your relationship, it's probably because there is something you're avoiding.
Damn.
That's just how it goes. If you watch any TV show or movie or whatever, what happens to the characters to create the drama is they lie about something, they avoid something. It's what creates all of the drama in our lives. It's what creates all the disconnection in our lives, is just not being real and not being honest and not facing the hard things. And if you just do that, your life would be way easier. Your sex would be better. Your relationship would be better. But like, people think that it's easier to just sweep it under the rug and avoid it. And maybe you get some like short-term relief from doing that. But the long-term impact of that is divorce or depression.
Yeah. Wow. I feel like we could just end the podcast right there. And that is like, that was the point, which makes me think of pleasure is the point, which is one of your huge, would you call it a slogan or how do you?
Yeah, slogan. Before we get to that, I just want to close the loop because I know if anyone with ADHD is listening to this, they're like, wait, but you said there's like two things. So I said previously that if couples are struggling in their sex life, they're missing skills and they're missing structure. So we talked a little bit about the skills, communication skills, being able to be emotionally resilient and emotionally open and aware. The structure piece that's missing in a lot of relationships is just the rituals that we were talking about earlier. The structure that's required to keep great sex alive is also not super complicated. The biggest pieces to it are consistent eye contact when you're talking to your partner.
You mean not on their phone?
Yeah.
Or the
correct.
TV?
Correct. If you are spending more time looking at a screen than you are in your love of your life's eyeballs at their soul, we need to rearrange some priorities here. Okay? I know you don't want to give up your TV show, but what's more important?
Yeah. The housewives will still be there tomorrow.
They really will. And they also, you could probably live your rest of your life and you'd be fine without them. You would probably not be fine to lose this best friend person that you have here. So look at each other in the eyes, touch each other every day. And the Gottmans said that a 6-second kiss is one of the easiest ways to maintain that consistent romantic sexual connection in a relationship. So it literally, you could every day set up a 5-minute long check-in with your partner where you hold their hand and you look at them in the eyes and you just ask, tell me about the best part of your day today. And you really listen and you listen to what they say and then you just kiss at the end for 6 seconds. You like a kiss like you mean it, and you would have a great sex life long term.
Wow. I love that.
So simple. It's so simple. Like it's just the structure. It's just the consistency of it that really matters, because over the long term, like your life is going to fluctuate so much. Stress levels, like big life events, grief is going to happen. You're going to move. You're going to maybe have a kid. You're going to change jobs. There's all of these like big things that happen in life, and having your romantic relationship, your partner being stable through that and the intimate connection you have with them being stable through that is what will get you through those experiences. And having structure and rituals in place, like every day, no matter what, we come to this place and we connect, is ultimately what will not only just keep your sex life alive, but keep your mental health intact.
Yeah, it's so important. I'm curious, you know, as somebody in this space, do you practice everything that you preach?
Most of the time, actually.
I love that. I love that.
Like most of the time, I would say. So this is where like defining what's really important to your relationship, like what actually are the pieces that are necessary for your relationship to maintain. It's going to look different for everyone. But for me and my relationship, having a weekly relationship check-in. So every single week we ask each other a few questions that are, what do you appreciate about me this week? What do you admire about me this week? What are you proud of yourself for this week? Do you have anything between us that's unsaid that needs to be said or cleared up? Do you have any stories about me that you're making? Any meaning that you're making about me that may or may not be true? Do you have any needs that aren't being met that I could do something about? And what's going well in our relationship? And we ask each other those questions every single week. And that is like one of our structures. We have a date night every week that we honor.
That we honor. I love that you emphasize that, because I feel like so often we will put it in the calendar and then deprioritize that and push it to the side as if it doesn't matter, or, you know, something else is more important or come up. And like, yes, things sometimes do, but the fact that the honoring part is so important.
For sure. I mean, it's just like, it just takes work. And I think a lot of people have a fantasy fairy tale around what a great relationship is supposed to be like, and how great sex happens long term, and how it should just be chemistry and natural and amazing without any effort, because if that was the right person, then it would just be fireworks and so easy and so perfect. And that just is not true. No. It's not real. Mm-hmm. And thinking that it is supposed to be like that will just lead you to questioning your relationship constantly. You choose the relationship you want to be in, and then through your action, the action is love. It's not that excitement feeling you get at the beginning of the relationship, and then that excitement feeling goes away. That's limerence. That's new relationship energy. That is not love. That's the bonding chemicals that are trying to, like the nature that's trying to get you to have sex and reproduce. That is not love. It's not falling in love either. Love happens when those chemicals wear off and you choose intentionally to forego some of the things that would be more convenient for you in favor of the relationship.
I love that. It's so funny because like you and I have talked about my last relationship. You were there for like 99% of it. And it's just interesting while you're saying these things, it's like, it's an active choice.
Yes.
And also there's a part of honoring your own boundaries in there too. And it's much more complex. Relationships are complex. They are simple and complex at the same time. And they do take a lot of effort from both parties. It's a mutual goal that you're working towards.
Yes. One of my favorite relationship coaches of all time, Annie Lala, who I worked with for many years, she taught me that love is like you and your partner are carrying a backpack up a mountain that never ends. And at any given time, one of you will be carrying the backpack that is your relationship. And you just carry it for as long as you can. And then you give it to your partner, and then they carry the backpack of the relationship, and you just give it back and forth forever. But there's never a point where you both equally are carrying the burden of the relationship. Like, that doesn't exist. But the relationship always needs to be carried by someone.
Yeah. Which makes totally logical sense. Like somebody has to take the lead, and everybody's going through something at some time. Yeah. And so sometimes you have to support your partner more. Sometimes you need more support. And it ebbs and flows.
Yes.
For an entire lifetime.
For the entire thing.
And if you don't nurture it, it's going to fall apart.
Yes. And if only one person is ever carrying the backpack, it's unsustainable. So I'll add that as a caveat too, because like, of course, there will most likely be one person in the relationship who is the relational leader, who is the person that is more often bringing question prompts or planning date nights or just being the like glue of let's stay together and let's connect more. And if only one person is putting in the effort for the entire time, like resentment is just going to build in that. That's just unsustainable.
And then eventually it implodes.
Yes. That will not last.
What is one of your number one relationship tips? I feel like you have millions of them.
I don't know. If we're going in the realm of sex, it's just like prioritize it. Prioritize sex.
Yeah.
Prioritize touch. Like make it important
Yeah.
to your relationship. Otherwise it just won't be.
I also feel like just prioritize the relationship.
Yes.
Like all of it.
Yeah.
Prioritize, period. Because if it's not prioritized.
Yeah. And I mean, I think like over work, over your kids, like over your friends. Like if you really want a relationship with someone to last your entire life, protect it like you want that. Like your job will come and go, your friends will probably come and go, like your kids will come and go. Like this thing is the thing. This is the relationship that you're choosing for your entire life. You need to act like that.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like so many people, they stay together for their kids and then the kids go off to college and the relationship falls apart.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure you see that a lot in the work that you do. And like your relationship holds you through and through.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not continually prioritizing it over all of those other things, at the end, when it's just you two, now what? Yes.
Yes. What I'll also say is like, the reason why there needs to be equal effort on both sides too is because when you do what I'm suggesting, when you really do prioritize your relationship and pour so much into your partner and pour so much into the relationship, if they are not also doing that to you, you will have nothing left and you will resent them. So like that advice really only, because the other thing that I was thinking of was like, put your own life jacket on first was like the other piece of advice, which seems contradictory to what I was just going to say. But both are equally important in the relationship. However, if you are with someone who prioritizes you just as much as you prioritize them, it's not an issue, actually.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the biggest, like, I don't want to say like mishaps in relationships, but like early in relationships, I think we often get, I don't know if convoluted is the right word, but we get a little bit like off base and that we're poor, but then we forget to look back and be like, oh, did anybody pour into me? Or is this one-sided? Am I the only one carrying the backpack? And then you look back and you're like, well, shit, it was all me. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I have
nothing to add on that point.
Well, not me at all. But yeah. So before we wrap up today's podcast, I have 2 questions for you. What is one thing that you are actively interested in exploring sexually right now?
My husband and I have been doing a lot of role play recently, which I really enjoy because I'm so bad at it. Like, I really like it for the comedy of it a little bit. And like, for example, one of our favorite characters is he'll play a spiritual masseuse named Shiloh, and he will basically just give me a sexy massage, but like it's kind of funny and sexy, and we put spa music on, and yeah, it's great.
Does your masseuse fuck you on the table?
Yes.
Yes. Oh my God. I love that.
It gets very naughty and very fun.
Yes.
So I love that one. We've done a role play where he's a male escort and I am paying him for sex. Very fun. And we just did one for Valentine's Day where we did, I was interviewing for a job and he was the employer. So we met in our in the hotel lobby. He made me sign a fake NDA and then just asked me a bunch of like sexy interview questions. And then we like went up to the room to like finish the interview. So I'm really interested in continuing to play with like wigs, different personalities, different like who am I in this context sexually? And I personally also really love power dynamics, and so any type of role play that has an element of a power dynamic in it is really fun for me.
I love that. I love that. How would you define pleasure?
Anything that brings you more alive.
That's a wonderful definition.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that in that definition, what's implied is like, I think people have a misconception of what pleasure is in that it is like gluttonous or sinful, or if you fall too much into pleasure, you like, for example, if eating chocolate is pleasurable to you, you eat too much chocolate cake and you hurt yourself. But by my definition of pleasure, which is that it brings you more alive, it's sustainable all the way through. So I actually wouldn't categorize eating an entire tub of ice cream or a chocolate cake as pleasurable, because that's not bringing you more alive. It may be one bite or two bites or a few bites where it's like, ooh, it just lights you up and it feels so good and it tastes amazing and you're like, oh, like I'm loving this. Still, that's pleasure. That's within the realm of pleasure to me. But the second that it gets into some level of shame or self-harm, or like you're taking it to a level which would make you less proud of yourself, then it doesn't fall into pleasure for me anymore.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so glad we finally got to sit down and record together. I feel like we've been talking about this for years. Maybe it hasn't been that long, but for a long time, like we've been
For a
talking
few
about
years,
it.
I
So glad we got to sit down. Where can the listeners find you at?
The Libido Fairy on every platform, on YouTube, Instagram. I'm starting a Substack today.
Ooh.
Yes, and website, The Libido Fairy. TikTok,
Beautiful.
all the things.
And we'll definitely drop your resources, your menu, and all the
Yeah,
fun
I'll
things
share the menu and I'll share the ritual guide. I think would both be really helpful.
Awesome. Well, thank you for chatting with me.
Thanks for having me, Jordan.
Thank you for joining today and continuing to bring awareness to women's health. If you love this show, please subscribe so you never miss another episode, and leave a review for others to see. If you want to see me on the daily, you can check out my bio for links to all my pages. Be sure to share this episode with your girlfriends. Thanks again, and see you next episode.